Well, it is a very busy time of the year because it's that time where nature is reproducing and all the birds here have got their young and they're going through so much food. There's my blackbird. Young starlings. They're eating so much, and well, it's just nice to watch them. They've been getting loads of mealworms, even a bratwurst, I think, that I've been feeding them as well, chopped up and diced. They have grapes, suet pellets and all sorts. And you can see they're absolutely ravenous. And these starlings need all the help they can get because numbers are in decline. So anything that can be done to help them is a good thing. When they're less busy, engaged in attending to the young, they're quite funny because the sounds they make are imitative. You hear them peeping and whistling as they sit on the telegraph wires and in trees and on roofs, and they make all manner of sounds that they've heard throughout the day. And they're so good at reproducing these sounds that you often think it's the real thing. For instance, a car alarm, those parcel scanners when someone's having a delivery, all sorts. When my friend had his site at Towing, near the Tallyclin Railway, they were even imitating the steam whistles of the locomotives, which was quite funny. So yes, very busy, very noisy, very raucous. And the blackbirds are on the second clutch. Unfortunately, the first clutch fell victim to a kestrel or a hawk. They had the nest in this shrub actually, and even the thickness and denseness of the foliage wasn't enough to keep out the bird of prey. There's this remnant of the nest. It's such a shame because they put in so much work to these things, and that's part of the blackbird's nest there. And you can see, even with it being wet through now, you can see how much care and attention they put into building the thing. And it was devastating, really. The blackbirds were upset, but there he is. But he's back on form again, fortunately. I've not seen his partner though for a few days. I think she's busy on the nest. They are flying in, or he is flying in. This may be blackbird number 2 actually. He's busy going back with food, so they must have chicks that have hatched, and hopefully they'll have a better fortune this time around. I hope so, because they do work so hard. It is literally non-stop from dawn till dusk. There are 2 of them. I think they're too busy for turf wars at the moment with feeding the young, because they're usually very territorial and they will defend their territories tooth and nail. Anyway, this is the bike I've renovated. I've resurrected it. It was an eBay win. I paid £60 for it, and it wasn't in this condition when I bought it. It was much the worse for wear. I was going to do a before video. My plan was to go up on the train. I got it from Edinburgh. I was to go up on the train. I wanted to wheel it back and bring it back on the train. As it happened, on the day the train was cancelled, so I had to go up in the car, which necessitated dismantling the bike. So instead of filming a load of pieces, I simply commenced work on it, doing it up, and this is the end result. It's is it mid 50s or late 50s? You have seen this one before when I was doing the tutorial on how to set up the 4-speed gears. So you have seen it before, but I haven't given you an in-depth appraisal of it. So now I remember, the hub date was December 59, so this is most likely a 1960 bike. It's 4-speed. I have replaced a lot of components with better ones using all original parts. The handlebars are the originals, although certainly the ones it came with. And if you imagine these totally brown with rust, you will get an idea of what it was like when I first got it. All I've done with this is cleaned it up with very fine wire wool. It's all dismantled, of course, so the handlebars and everything were off the bike, the wheels were off. I did this with very fine wire wool because wire wool will not scratch the chrome, which is an important consideration. You do not want to be scratching the chrome work. The handlebar grips I have put on, they're old ones. As it came to me, it had some dreadful clown grips from a mountain bike, horrible things, which I've put in my box. It's got the original light, again, just wire wool. That's all I really use to clean up the chrome. It's got the lens there, which I know these suffer, or can suffer badly from yellowing and going completely opaque, but this one has fared rather well. It still retains some transparency. The bell is one I had in my collection, Lucas Meteor, excellent ringers. Nice space age thing, 1960s. Good head badge there. The Raleigh. Brake parts, all rod brakes, minimal wear on these. It's a shame bikes don't have odometers, because I would love to have known the mileage of this thing. I'm suspecting it's a very low mileage example, because the parts that were on these rod brakes, the guides here, were through long service or lack of lubrication, where they fit into the stirrup. That is where they were, and the first thing to go is the chrome, but as you can see, they are pretty good. So I am reckoning this is a very low mileage bike. It's got most of the original paintwork, remains of the fork transfer there. The front mudguard, well, I've just treated this, gone all over it with green hammerite inside and out. I didn't really want to do the top, but it was too far gone really to be presentable, so it got the hammerite treatment all over. It did have the remains of a mud flap. I've retained the original fittings, the sort of some bifurcated rivets or split end rivets. I've still got them. I just need to find a bit of suitable green canvas, which I'm sure I will. One will turn up on my travels. as I'm like a womble, making good use of the things that I find. The front hub, well, I've dismantled that and cleaned it, new bearings, packed it with grease. Chrome's gone, but I do have a much better example, which I will have a wheel builder replace one day, but that's hardly a priority now. This isn't actually the original wheel. I'll show you that in a moment. This is from a scrap bike because it's stainless. But in any event, the original hub from the original wheel isn't much better than this. So as you will have seen from my other videos, I do much prefer the stainless rims because they're a lot more durable and they're just infinitely better, resistant to corrosion. They last, they seem to go on forever. They just seem to be better built. It's got old tyres on it. You see that Dunlop Champion with a likeness of Mr. Dunlop himself there. And it's got the Dunlop Champion or Dunlop tubes as well with Woods valves. Nothing wrong with the tubes. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Do save the old tubes because with them being encased in the tyre, they are generally very well protected and don't suffer the effects of ultraviolet degradation or oil or anything like that. So the tubes are often in good condition and can be used again. On the rear, another from my collection is a Michelin Roadster tyre. I mean, that is a proper job, it really is. If you look at the size of that, look at the thickness of that compared to the front one, that is a proper Roadster tyre. It is a shame that we are now limited as to what tyres we can buy for these old bikes. It's really Michelin World Tour or Rally Record, as there's just not the demand for them anymore. So we've lost a lot of the old tread patterns. But as these are quite hard and they still ride okay, but I will be replacing them with new rubber, which will be a lot more pliable and nicer to ride on. These will be being hung up again on my garage wall. It's my classic tyre. So you'll see there's a bit of a white thing going on here. I put the pump on, a good Blue Mel Brothers example there. And with the bell, cream and silver, and also the reflector which I have replaced. So there's a bit of a white theme, which I think suits it well. The rear lamp I've replaced because the chrome on these it is prone to going and becoming untidy, but that is a really nice one. So I've replaced that and the fork clip there. I mean, look at the chrome on that. Pleased to get that. All the transfers are there. It's got the filter switch unit, this is, so it's automatic changeover. It does work. I've got it working. All the wiring's intact. And you can see the old pinstripes there, the old gold pinstripes where I've moved the battery tube slightly. And that would have been all over the bike. I mean, I don't think I'll reinstate it because it would be painstaking and very time consuming, but it must have been quite a Bobby Dazzler when it was new. Raleigh industry stand. I've cleaned that up. As I say, everything was dismantled, carefully cleaned, and it's just details like this that I really admire. That there, if you can see that, that is the oiler for the bottom bracket. Kingfisher leads. Back when Britain made all sorts of stuff like this, there was nothing you couldn't get, and that's just a sprung, the spring cap there, where you lift it up. If I can show you this. With my large fingers. So it's on a spring, so that is lifted up. You squirt some oil in there and then it springs shut and keeps the lid down, so no grit or any other undesirable stuff gets in there. Most of the chrome cleaned up really well. There's a few things I had to replace. I've got these off my scrap bike, but that's cleaned up well. But you can see the state of the chrome as it was. And this came to light when I was cleaning it. The original transfer warning against riding with the key in the lock, and the key is unfortunately missing. I might chance on a replacement one day. I know you can dismantle the locks, but I did have a little go at it, but I decided against it. It's got the Brooks saddle again, green, all colour coded. All I need to do really is mix up some paint and just touch in these damaged areas of the transfers. Raleigh, I do like this lettering. It looks very purposeful and industrial. So my plan was to have this as a sort of daily rider for commuting and just pottering about to the shops and on errands and what have you. And so far it's been doing that very well. As I say, it does ride brilliantly. There is no whir, no juddering, no knocking or clanking or banging or anything. It's just as well, it rides probably as it would when it was new. The bottom bracket I dismantled. That's got new bearings in it. Chain case all came off. I did fit a 21 tooth sprocket just to lower the gearing because I live in fairly hilly areas. There'll be more on that in one of the riding videos, and it did necessitate lengthening the chain by a couple of links, which was an easy job. But yes, it's got a 21 tooth sprocket on it. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it. You have to remember with these bikes, even though to many people now they look old and rubbish, they were nothing of the sort. In today's money, they're about a £650 bike, and people's wages back then were like for like a lot lower than they are now. So the reason these bikes have lasted for so long is, first of all, the quality of them was second to none, and they were built to last right from the start. And the other consideration is that £650 is a lot of money now. Buying one new, when it was new, it would have been a big expense, and they would have, the buyer would have looked after it. And when you also consider not many people had cars, the bicycle was the sole transport, you can understand why there's so many of these left. This is the original front wheel, and it's the steel rim. So the rear rim was also in this condition. There was no point using this, it's too far gone. I think it's perforated, you know, where it's rusted through, but somewhere. But I mean, that as soon as corrosion like that sets in, you can say goodbye. It's pointless trying to clean them up, really. Fortunately though, the rear has fared a lot better. This is steel. I do have a stainless one, but this is very good. But going back to the advantages of stainless, you don't get this wearing off of the plating with stainless, which when the plating wears off because of through the action of braking, that's when rust and corrosion can set in, especially when the bike falls out of use and is stored in a damp shed or a damp garage. That's when the rot sets in. But yeah, this is the original, just normal steel rim. Stainless was an extra cost option, and you will see a few of these old bikes with stainless rims, and that means the original buyer specified them and paid extra for them, which was a good investment. I changed the trigger. This is the one that you will have seen in the video on how to set up the gears. This is the original. It's the brass face one that has red paint on it, whereas this is a later version in much better condition. So I've just used that purely for cosmetic reasons. This was the reflector it came with. Personally, I don't think that is the one it left the factory with, being a Philips, because as you all know, Philips made a lot of aftermarket parts, and I just preferred the Sturmey Archer one I had, even though that's a later one, because of its bigger pattern reflector. That's a smaller one. The segments are a lot smaller, and white, really, it's just a concession to safety, but I think it suits it well. I've got the other bike with a black reflector, so it's just nice to have a change. So yes, there it is. Nice old 4-speed, rides really well, and there will be some riding videos coming up. I'm really chuffed to bits with it, how it's turned out, and it just goes to show that the old roadsters are still very competent bikes, and great for what they were meant for, which is just workaday transport of of anyone, really. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll tune in again. Stay tuned for more bikes, cars and obsolete technology, and more wildlife. toodaloo.